Running a business comes with a lot of what ifs, but luckily there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
This is Cop Talk, talking crime, cases, and backing the blue. Now, here are your hosts, Captain Ed Mehmet and Detective Kevin Schroeder.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cop Talk. I'm Edward Mehmet, retired New York City Police Captain. I'm filling in for our host, retired first grade Detective Kevin Schroeder, who's off on another covert assignment somewhere in the world. And this is my pleasure filling in for him once more. And filling in for me, who would be the co-pilot, is our producer, Joseph Diamond. Say hello, Joe.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to Cop Talk.
Today, we have another Kevin on the show. His name is Kevin Ward. Kevin Ward is the Customer Success Manager at ZeroEyes. ZeroEyes is a company that deploys artificial intelligence gun detection software for law enforcement. And that's become quite an interesting product lately. It's been around for a while, but I guess his is better than most. Kevin is a former Pennsylvania State Trooper and the U.S. Army Special Forces Sergeant. We also have with him a former Navy SEAL, Dusty Brooks, the co-founder of ZeroEyes. Gentlemen, welcome to Cop Talk.
Thank you.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having us on, guys. Really appreciate it.
So, gentlemen, your company's headquartered, I think, right outside of Philadelphia. Big story today. Big breaking news. A dangerous convicted murderer, Danilo Cavalcante, who escaped from prison 2 weeks ago. He was caught today by I guess this is one of the largest, probably the largest manhunt this year in the United States, or certainly the news coverage has been very significant. First of all, my hat's off to all Pennsylvania law enforcement and all agencies that are involved with that. But Kevin, you spent years as a Pennsylvania trooper, so I just wanted to get your thoughts on what's going out there today.
I did. I'm happy that no one was injured. I spent 8 years on this Pennsylvania CERT team, the tactical team, and a special emergency response team. So I texted some of my buddies that are still on the team, and I'm glad it came to a happy ending with no one being injured, obviously. And obviously a big shout out to all the agencies that were involved with this, all the federal, local, and state agencies that helped out with this. That was a big team win there.
How has your experience been as a state trooper shaped your views on gun violence? And either one of you can comment. Kevin, we'd like to share with Dusty also. So Dusty, feel free to talk if you want to.
So just being a former law enforcement, obviously dealing with gun violence. I worked a little over 21 years, state police, started in patrol, eventually moved over to the criminal investigation side. And then eventually my last 8 years, I worked with our tactical team and just looking at our company, or this company now, ZeroEyes, and how they've been proactive with the gun violence. It's an incredible journey that they're on, and they've had some great successes. And using that AI technology to detect brandish weapons it's incredible. It's going to be a game changer.
How did you come to work with them?
So I started at ZeroEyes about 9 months ago now. I met the one of the CEOs of the company, Mike Laeth, at an event. We were talking for a while, and at the end of that, he asked me. He said, "Hey, what are you doing now?" I'd recently retired from law enforcement and did a few interviews with the company, and I met up with Dustin here, and he brought me on as one of the customer success managers. So it's been excellent.
I will add with that. So something our company's really focused on as we've continued to scale and grow out and kind of spread across the country and add, more individuals to the teams. We've been a, former law enforcement, military background company focused first. We've been fortunate enough to engage in some programs with military transitioning vets called a Skill Bridge program too, which is a program within the DoD that helps veterans transition into civilian-based jobs. That's something we've been able to partnership with the DoD as well. And then I would say that anecdotally, 75% of our company right now is around that of transitioned law enforcement members and military members in the organization. So, everybody's backgrounds and special operations or being law enforcement really helps shape the way that we are able to deliver our product to the market as well.
So give us a layman's view. How does the software work? How does it help to stop mass shootings? Yeah,
and to understand kind of how it works, I like to give a little bit of a background on it. So the Parkland shooting happened down in Florida in a school district in 2018, where the individual got an Uber to a school, got prepped in a stairwell, pulled out a gun in a stairwell, and then proceeded to go throughout the building in multiple floors, and then ultimately end up exiting the building and going to a local McDonald's, and appeared to be as if he was a student. So, in looking at that situation, our team took kind of the approach of what exists in security in that environment and what doesn't exist, and where could we focus some efforts to be able to support. And we saw from the technology piece that the kid stood in a stairwell for quite a bit of time before actually doing the act, and had an exposed weapon in front of a camera. So our team, the founding core team of ZeroEyes, took that and was like, if we could identify a gun early on and provide situational awareness to first responders and law enforcement, could we have some kind of value add here? And in all cases, there's so many different cases of active shooter events, but the idea of that being able to send early warning information, we've definitely seen of benefit in the marketplace in relationship to security. So, and an overall kind of layout of what we do is we overlay on existing camera infrastructure at places of business or school districts. So we use their existing cameras and make them proactive with technology to identify guns. And if we get an identification, we have a 24/7, 365 monitoring center that's staffed primarily by former law enforcement or military veterans that review those alerts and then act as a response center to be able to provide that information via mobile app, via phone call, via SMS text messages to our customers to let them know that, hey, there's a gun on your campus or in your place of business. And, it's up to them based on their SOPs, how they respond to that situation.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hello, Nigel here. As an owl, I love to be awake all night, but allergy sufferers like you probably don't feel the same. So take Zizol at night to relieve allergies while you sleep. Then wake up fully refreshed for a more productive day. Zizol works fast and offers 24-hour continuous relief from sneezing, runny nose, itchy watery eyes, and itchy nose and throat, so you can enjoy doing the things you love all day long. Be Wiseol. Take Zizol at night. Use as directed. Starts working in 45 minutes.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Experience a progressive lens engineered with AI from Essilor, powered by individual measurements of your visual behavior. A lens personalized to you by an Essilor expert. Discover Verilux XR Track and enjoy instantly sharp vision in motion and seamless transitions from near to far. Find your local Essilor expert today at Essilor.com.
Just to go into the weeds a little bit, how does the software pick up a gun? Is it sort of comparing it to a database of rifles and pistols? It's looking for that shape. Is it because it's two-dimensional information, right? It's not picking up any texture or any of the physical qualities. So is it just the image is flagged?
No, absolutely. I mean, that's it, from a 36,000 foot view, without having one of our AI guys on the call with me, we look for active guns. So exposed weapons, guns in hands. We initially built our object recognition model to focus on guns that were primarily used in mass shooting. So your AR style weapons, your semi-automatic pistols, etc. But then we've started to expand. So we'll take little grabs, bring in an additional weapon system, compare it to the model that we've built before without degrading any kind of performance of being able to detect weapons at certain distances and carry configurations. And then we'll add that weapon into the model. And then, so our team we've got a whole team in Philadelphia that's dedicated to that process, to making our detection capabilities better constantly.
And how does it, if somebody's monitoring the screens in the response center, is it sort of like air traffic control? Like, does it start to beep? Like, will it beep if it picks up something? How does it alert the human who's looking for this?
Yeah. So our monitors that are sitting in Philadelphia, they're looking at essentially a blank screen, and they don't see anything unless the AI picks it up and shows it to them. And then if if there's an image that pops up that has a bounding box around it, just kind of a box drawn around what it thinks to be a gun, that analyst is to look at that and essentially they ask themselves one question: is this gun or is this not a gun? And if it's not a gun, then we discard that image into a database. And then if it is a gun, then we dispatch that image. So the analyst clicks dispatch, and then it goes to our customers via mode of different operations.
How do you distinguish if it's a phony gun or a real gun? Some of these phony guns look like real guns.
Yeah, you would be amazed at Kevin on his side of the house with the customers deals with this quite a bit, but you would be amazed what shows up as a gun. I always make the joke, we had a corporate customer that really liked to play the Matrix movie in the background of one of their areas. So we got a lot of Matrix movie detections, but our analysts do a rigorous training process to really go through and identify their own internal SOPs of how to escalate or de-escalate situations. There's been a lot of swatting calls in the school systems, if you're familiar with them, where they're essentially prank calls for active shooters.
Yes.
In which we've had law enforcement show up, guns drawn, and we've gotten detections and then been able to de-escalate those situations with our customers just based on, us not having detections of an active shooter or, notifying key personnel at that school or that location that law enforcement has shown up. We don't actively pursue modeling out squirt guns or Nerf guns, etc. But we do get those from time to time, and we're able to provide that situational awareness in a kind of a softer position as opposed to a hard dispatch to our customers, and just let them know and give them situational awareness. But internally, we have SOPs to still provide that situational awareness, but de-escalate situations that may or may not be an active shooter event.
To clarify for our listeners, I assume what you're telling us is that the gun, or what appears to be a gun, has to be visual. Your equipment will not detect a gun if it's under the person's clothing or in the person's clothing. It has to be out and visible to a camera. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's well stated. And so, we look at security, all good security comes in layers. We're a proactive position and a situational awareness tool. We are not, the 100% solution. So if you don't have security guards, you should, probably have some kind of personnel at a school system or a place of business that can actually receive and manage and proactively pursue any kind of situational awareness information that they get, whether that be object recognition through camera systems like ZeroEyes, looking for guns, or that be, people being screened at front doors, or just overall security assessments of closed and open doors, access control systems, etc. But we sit in that layer of security as a proactive solution instead of a reactive solution.
What are the training requirements for using such friendly touch and so forth?
Yeah. And Kevin, you can hop in on this one too. I would say that, it's really interesting. We detect guns and send in alerts, right? That is what our company does. But there's no out of the box solution or one size fits all for any customer. Everybody's got their own security. They've got their own SOPs. They may have relationship with local law enforcement. They may not. They may have local relationships with the local 911 dispatch centers or the PSAPs, or they may not. So we take kind of a proactive approach and really root in with our customers and partner and try to help them develop, the most robust security position for their site. And that's what, Kevin on the call, from his experience in law enforcement, and then what we have with technology, is able to start combining those two things together and really create like an ecosystem of security for our customer that really supports them.
Kevin, what do you have to say about this?
Exactly what Dustin was just mentioning. Again, when you look at a lot of these active shooter scenarios and situations that happen, over 70% of them, right? They're displaying the firearm in front of a camera prior to committing the act, usually for several minutes, that prep stage. What the company's trying to do is we're trying to steal that time back from that shooter. And then again, once the calls start coming in, the 911 calls for an active shooter situation, you're getting all sorts of descriptions. You're having that chaos, that fog of war almost. With this technology, it helps clarify that. Imagine, you're a police officer and you're responding to an active shooter. You know nothing. And there's hundreds of calls coming in, all kinds of descriptions, number of shooters. Imagine if you were able to get an image of the shooter right there, real time, what they're wearing, what they're carrying. That would bring some clarity and help you on who you need to look for and the location.
That was an interesting question. How does the officer in the patrol car get that information or that picture? Is there special equipment in the police cars?
So we operate through a system called Rapid SOS as well that is tied into the local 911 centers. So when we send out an image, many of these 911 centers will get that same image. And if they have the ability to send it to the patrol car, then they can.
So it's up to them to send it, not you.
Yes, we still send it to our clients. They have we have a mobile app, and we also have a SMS text alert app, and they get a certain amount of licenses, and they can choose who gets those licenses. We're trying to put that actionable intelligence into the hands of people that are going to respond to these situations.
What are some of the situations where you have deployed the product?
Yeah, we've had quite a bit. So I mentioned some of the swatting calls with responding law enforcement that have showed up, from that all the way to, we haven't had your traditional active shooter situation, but we have had illegal firearms in, public transit centers, public buildings, et cetera, that people had brandished guns. That otherwise they wouldn't have known that they were there had we not detected them and sent those alerts out. And those individuals were detained, and they were able to get to those individuals in around 3 to 5 minutes. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had known those individuals were there.
Can you deploy them in the schools? Because I think in the schools that's really where it would be a perfect product to be installed.
Yeah, absolutely. So we look at 3 different verticals as far as what our company pursues and where we can benefit the most. One of those is education, so K through 12 and higher ed. The other is commercial environments, so anywhere that there's a security camera in an airport or a subway center or a corporate environment, a corporate building downtown, or even municipalities, so cameras deployed across the cities. We have the ability to work with literally any security camera. So we have a vertical for education or for commercial. And then we've also got a vertical for the DoD and government solutions too. So we do a lot of R&D projects with the government. Some of the stuff that we've looked at is like robot dogs and drones and et cetera. And everything that gets built with those teams, we're able to provide that technology to our customers on the commercial and education side too. So we've got this nice feedback loop of being able to go into bigger, broader projects, and then anything that we find of benefit to our education customers or commercial customers, we're able to apply that technology to those as well.
You reached out to any of the large police agencies like New York City Police Department?
Yeah, and so we've got a team that's pretty entrenched with, connecting with law enforcement teams in New York City. We're not really tied to that unless the customers come on to our side, and we're kind of managing those customers. So there are projects that are happening. We're always looking for different people to communicate with and connect with. So if there is any listeners on that New York side of the house, contacting our team through the website is definitely of benefit.
Well, make an analogy, the New York City Police Department uses the product called ShotSpot.
Yep.
Where it picks up the sound of gunshots, and they've had that product for a number of years. What it does, it picks up everything, including backfires, firecrackers. That's one of the problems, distinguishing a real gunshot from something else. But, the department is quite progressive. They do look into products like this. So I would think that this product would be very an interest of the police department, at least to tell the people that they deal with, the store owners, the business owners, that it's available for installation. Because we do have New York has a crime prevention program where the crime prevention survey is available to all businesses free of charge. This product might be something that those people should be told about. They might want to reach out to the police department to at least make them aware that it's available, that they can recommend it, or not that they're allowed to recommend, but tell their people that when they inspect the premises, that this kind of software is available.
Absolutely. I mean, we're 100% dedicated to this mission and available to have any phone calls of interest. So, you mentioned ShotSpotter, and that's, technology that we were aware of when we started the company. And that's, could be a phenomenal resource to be able to kind of create a response. But, in our mind, whenever shots are fired, the shots have already been issued. So, we're trying to be on that other end. And again, all good security comes in layered positions.
What advice would you give to law enforcement agencies considering using it, even though it's designed mainly for private sector? Would you give the police agencies advice that they can use it on their own?
Yeah, like Kevin mentioned on the call earlier too, we work with the law enforcement. So some of the feedback that we've gotten with the law enforcement teams is that they've had more of a curated response. They've been able to decrease response time just based on knowing where the shooter was, what they looked like, and kind of what the event that they were running into. So as a response position, and I know being a military member, special operations downrange, like if I knew that I was responding to an event with a guy that had an AK-47 versus a 9mm Glock, the approach is a little bit different on how hard or soft or how you take the doors or how you dynamically entry or whatever. So, what I would say to those guys is technology is out there. We try to be a force multiplier. So where your eyes aren't, and then add that situational awareness to try to curate a faster, quicker response, hopefully save lives. And then, even the guys that are running into those situations, give them a leg up.
Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
Clorox Sentiva smells like lavender. Cleans like Clorox. And feels like...
All right, that could go on for a while. Experience the long-lasting freshness of Clorox Sentiva. Available in Clorox Sentiva Lavender Scented Bleach. Use as directed.
Morning decisions. A creamy mocha frappuccino drink? A sweet vanilla? Maybe a smooth caramel? Or that white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Start your day with bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drinks. Pick up a bottle near you wherever you buy your groceries.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The Four Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The Four Seasons, streaming now only on Netflix.
Well, that's a very important part of it. That's why the police agency should be aware of the product. Well, any information that a responding police officer can get is very helpful. To make another analogy, many agencies build into their EDP process. EDP stands for emotionally disturbed people, which is a big thing. If there had been prior calls for a location, or if the person is armed, they transmit this information to the responding units so that they are aware that there have been multiple calls to a particular situation and they should approach with more caution than usual. And that's why your product, I think, is very important because it describes the type of weapon and or weapons that are being displayed. That would determine the type of response that we get. Because the SWAT teams are not always activated. They're activated only when they really need it. You don't want to be activating them every time somebody, a gun is produced. So I just think there's a great value in this for the police agencies to look into.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Kevin, you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say the same thing you were just saying, that law enforcement being able to get that image of a suspect before getting on scene is huge. I don't think you'd find any police officer out there that wouldn't want that information. And the technology, we have the technology there for that.
So, gentlemen, to wrap up, we're living at the dawn of a new revolution in technology, the artificial intelligence revolution. How do you think gun detection software specifically will evolve in the coming years? And more generally, how do you think AI, its impact on law enforcement, will unfold in the coming years?
Oh, man. We look at the capabilities of object detection and what camera systems can do. And we're a one-trick pony right now. We're very focused on this one problem and this one thing. But as technology continues to develop, it gets easier to deploy, and then you can get, it's kind of like commonplace. We see there's over 80 million security cameras in the United States and growing. So we see the ability to provide more information faster in a security response position. The landscape's kind of endless of what you can do, but I think we're one piece to that puzzle and one piece to that pie, and we're just going to continue, heads down, staying on this path. And I mean, to us, we always looked at it as if we can save one life, and through this whole event, this whole process, that is a huge win. Every waking hour of all of us working hard to make this solution available to our customers is totally worth it.
You just got a new round of funding, by the way. Congratulations on that. Are Silicon Valley investors, are they involved? Are they, are they looking at the company?
Yeah. So I don't sit on that side of the house in the organization. But it's, we have had institutional investors, West Coast, East Coast. We are a venture-backed company, and appreciate the round of funding comments. What was awesome is that, our investors, see the value in the organization and came back in. So the majority of that funding was ran from our internal investors as well. So it's, the company's continuing to grow, and we're hitting awesome marks and really doing some good things for our customers too. So hope to continue the mission.
So, Kevin, if people want more information on the company, where do they go?
You could go to ZeroEyes.com. All one word, ZeroEyes.com.
Very good. Well, gentlemen, thank you for your time today, and keep up the good work. Again, this is you're on the cutting edge of this revolution in law enforcement and tech. So we look forward to bigger and better things.
If you like what you hear, please subscribe to Cop Talk, and you can follow us on Twitter at Cop Talk WABC. That's at Cop Talk WABC. Thank you so much, and until next time, be safe out there.